Hello, hello, hello. It's 2 o'clock, and I said I was going to do a Halloween project for you at 2 o'clock on Friday. And here it is, and it's Friday. Yay, happy weekend. If you pop on, let me know you're here. And by all means, do me a favor and share or sprinkle or cheer this on the best you can. That would be awesome. I'm going to see if I can find me popping up on the page I just did. And then I'm going to wait until I see, perhaps, we can get somebody to join us. Don't think I can add community from here. I can't. So I'll have to wait. Hey, Nancy, nice to see you. I've got a tickly hair. Oh, my goodness. All right. So I did see us just a second ago. There we are. There we go. Hello, Barbara. Hello, Nancy. Another Nancy. Awesome. Okay. So I don't know if you guys have had a chance to do any shopping yet, but my plan was to do it at midnight because there was a couple stencils I really, really wanted, and I fell asleep. Oh well. But I did place my order this morning, and I placed lots of things for Happy Mail. My witch's hat is doing weird things. There you go. I own several of these. They seem quite fitting. So anyhow, we're going to have a little fun today. Where is this thing? Here, we'll go that way. And the puppies are barking. Sorry, guys. Just how it's going to have to be. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Okay, so if you guys would be sweethearts and sprinkle or cheer this on, I would love that. This week, or not this week, this month, I've had the opportunity to paint some really fun Halloween pieces. I actually took the piece that hangs in my foyer just to show you. This was a class I did with the pumpkin and the broom. This one's a little big. This is a 16 by 20. It hangs in my foyer, along with some witches' hats and other things. And then I have a painting membership called Blooming Brushes, and we worked on monochromatics this month. And monochromatics meaning using one color for a painting. And when we did our technique, we kind of did the idea of just how you could do a spooky tree with just using that one color. And this is a little different than what I did with the deer. If you happen to see that last night or catch the replay, that had more colors in it. It was very monochromatic, as in about the same color scheme, but I used a lot of colors to achieve that. This is just black and white. And then when we went on to our project, and my projects for Blooming Brushes are exclusive to them, and they're all original designs. They're kind of special. We did something similar to this boot with this bouquet of flowers in it. And again, all black and white. Now, when we did our background, I did give an option to incorporate a little bit of what, like I did in that Bewitched painting, which is kind of similar to a background like this. But I decided I needed a witch's hat to go with it. So we're going to do a little monochromatic witch's hat. I'm going to keep it pretty simple. And we'll add some stenciling to it. You love the hat? Good. But that hat or this hat? Because I got lots of these hats. Guys, I appreciate you guys so much. I hope you have a chance to go check out the sale at Essential Stencil. If you forgot what the word is to get in, it's secret. Secret. And then at the end, you have an opportunity to put in a discount code. And I'd love it if you put in cheers. It'll save you 10%. And it'll help me with my stash for some more goodies for you guys down the road. Same with stars. The star money that I do earn from these goes right toward my stash purchase, my purchase for Happy Mail and things like that. All right, so I'm going to put you down and we're going to get started. So hopefully we're right side, or at least this is right. Okay, so you're going to be upside down. And I've just gotten to the point that I'm telling people, just turn your phone around because, yeah, just do it. So I'm going to do this. I got one last minute after the minute. Okay, cool. The one I didn't get that I really wanted was the Argyle print. And I know I can do it myself with the Harlequin I've got, but I thought that would have been so fun. And I missed out. Oh well. I still managed to spend a lot of money. All right. Here is my surface. It is an 8x10 canvas board. Now when I painted this tree, and when I painted the boot, when I designed them, I just did them on cardstock. So cardstock is a fun thing to play with. also wanted to show you that on here, those were me, that was me, here, put this way you can see it. That was me breaking down the colors, that even though I just used black and white, I had all these variations that we can use. You can also do monochromatic with a color, but this would just seem like a fun way to do it. So let's draw a witch's hat. If you've got a piece of chalk, that might show up a little better on the black. I don't think I have a piece of chalk right here. I do. Okay, so piece of chalk. You probably can find all sorts of tutorials on how to draw a witch's hat. I think when we sometimes draw part of our paintings, it really does help us. It's a lot like when we trace a pattern. And by the way, if when we get this done, you really like this, let me know and I'll just post it back in here and you can have the tracing we do. So this is how I draw a witch's hat. I think about kind of an oval. Don't care if it's completely straight or not. And then maybe about a little closer down to bottom than top, halfway, I just start kind of thinking of how I'd like this hat to have its shape. Maybe it needs to have a little turn in it. And it's going to come back down. If that doesn't quite right, we will change that direction. The nice thing about chalk is it dusts right off, and then with a damp rag, let me make my paper towel damp, if I can get to the water. Oh my goodness, hang on. There. Water will take it right away. Bloop, 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 bloop. So there it is. Okay. And I'm not married to those lines. I can change them a little bit, but it gives me an idea. And then I just kind of need to curve the bottom of it. Maybe decide about how fat I want my witch's hat brim to be. And that's when I kind of get fun and I come back and I go, well, let's make this a little more curvy. Let's come back and make this a little more pointy. And again, I'm just going to get rid of the lines I no longer want. Doop, doop, doop. About a witch's hat. Nothing too fancy. I'm going to make sure I've got some black paint. Oh, by the way, this was just base coated with just straight black paint, nothing else. Okay, so there's my black. And I'm going to take a little white. I'm just going to brush mix my colors. But if you wanted to, you can go and do several splots of black and just add white, add a little bit more, add a little bit more. And if you mix those up, I have this shade of gray. I'm going to wipe that off just so I don't, and if I have a clean brush, I'm going to mix this shade of gray. And if it's not enough lighter than that, bloop, I can add a little more white. And the actual shades you make are endless. But sometimes it is nice to have a little puddle of paint ready to go so you're not having to brush mix. I like brush mixing. I like having different values within my paintings. Not everybody does. That's okay. But if I pull those out, just to show you, there's black, wipe my brush, there's a gray, wipe my brush, there's a lighter gray, and there's a much lighter gray. So I already have different values I can play with. All right. So what I did first was when I'm realizing this is going to have to change a little bit. I'm going to have to move that, make that a little more rounded. I'll do that with my paint. I used just a flat brush. This is not that. It's actually an angle brush. Let's use a flat brush. And I didn't even care how great of shape it was in. And I picked up a medium grayish color. Pull on both sides of my brush. And I'm going to kind of decide where I want this hat band to be. And I just pulled the paint from the outer edge in. I let it be a little lighter in the middle. But that's how I started that. I went that way. I think it needs to go up a little higher. See, you can make changes as you go. So this is my gray hat band. And if I decided I didn't like exactly where that was placed, I could always come in with black. I'm fine with that, but I just want to show you. Let's say I really thought that was too low. I could come in back with my black, and look, it's magic. Because it's base coated black, I can correct any boo-boos. Boo-boos? So we'll leave that as it is. I'm gonna go back and grab a gray. This is fine. And I'm making this pretty dry. Maybe I'm gonna wipe it off with my paper towel. And where I've kind of drawn this hat, I'm gonna put a little line. I'm just gonna pull just a little bit in toward my hat. Just a little bit. I don't want my hat to be too gray. Just pulling a little bit in so I know that's where my hat is going to be different from my outer edge. Just a little bit of paint. I'll do the same bit down here, just pulling a little bit from the edge in. I have a decent hat shape. I think I'm going to show you a little bit of how I kind of do this edge so you can get an idea for that too. And it's still done the same with the same colors. Now, when we did ours, we used a paper towel, a very, really hard to find tool. And we crumpled it up and we made it a little wet. It might have been a little too wet, but you can do this with a sponge too, but the paper towel is something I know you all have, okay? Then pick up a gray, doesn't matter which one. Leave yourself a little bit of room. Try not to go right next to the hat. Stay a little bit away from it. And you can dab on a little bit of this color. Leave just a little room next to my hat. When I need to find a new place for my paper towel, I just kind of do that. If I have a spot that gets to be too light, I just pick up black and go back over it. But what we thought was fun was we picked up a tiny bit of a different color. This happens to be copper. There goes my girls again, barking like crazy dogs. So I don't want a lot of this. I want just a very little bit of it, tiny little bit, wiping most of it off. I'm going to pull a little bit up here, a little bit around, a little bit down, kind of put my edges in. I'm sorry about the dogs barking, ladies and gentlemen. Pick it up a little more, tapping most of it off. And that's kind of bold. So that's where it becomes really fun that you can come back with your black, and just make it kind of all meld in. Hello, Darlene. I hope you guys are all having a fabulous Friday. Made it a little bit too much. Remember, if I get too much to anywhere, I can always go back with straight black. But it's just kind of a fun background. All right. So we have the basic shape of our hat. I'm going to let my background dry a little bit. I'm going to get rid of my chalk lines. But now I'm going to come into go back to that hat band and decide if maybe I'd like that to be a little more like a white hat band. Remember, I'm trying to keep this kind of monochromatic, with the exception of our copper. So same brush. Don't even have to worry about it being too clean. I'm going to pick up some white. And I'm going to put a little bit of paint on each side of my brush. I need this to be kind of dry, so I'm just tapping it off with my paper towel. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to start pulling some white into my hat band. And I'm pulling it from each side, so it's not quite as dark in the middle. And this is where I can start pulling a couple more stronger lines in for my witch's hat. Almost like a bit of a here and there white outline, but not the whole thing. Maybe I want to see a turn in my hat, so we can make it a little lighter this way. Being very sketchy. It is not a full outline. But I do want it to stand out from my background. What is that? Well, it's now a highlight. And I've gotten rid of the majority of the chalk lines. Clean my brush, and I'm just going to try to get rid of the rest of the chalk. That's the great thing about chalk. You can do that with a pencil too, but you're going to see a little bit of your pencil. All right, now I need a buckle on that hat band. And since we did a little bit of copper, I think I'm going to pull that little bit of copper into my hat band. I'm going to just grab a round brush just because it's a little smaller. And we're going to make our hat band. We're going to do a line down, a line across, and a line across. Clean it up a little bit. And it's going to have a little buckle. I'm going to rinse that out. I'm going to go in with something darker than that white. So I can go to this middle gray, or I can even pick up a little black. And I'm just going to lightly go right next to the buckle on the outside. And on the inside, just next to the buckle, so it helps stand out a little bit. I'm going to go into black. I'm going to make it so it looks like there's part of a circle here. Like she has little holes in her. It's a buckle. It's like a belt buckle. All right. To make sure our hat stands out from our background, we're going to take black. We just did this white outline, but we're just going to kind of go around it with black to make it sure it pops really well. Straight black. It's not like outlining that sometimes is tedious and hard because you don't even have to be right next to it. We just want to make sure there's something solidly black between our background and our hat. And we now have enough black to do 25 of these. All right. Our witch's hat needs, use some light gray. I'm going to do some little lines, dot, dot, dot. I'm going to connect a body. I'm going to start off this light. I can make it darker. I'm going to start doing a little head. I can go into a darker gray or even black. Just tap right over that. Even while it's wet, it's going to just get a little fuzzy. My edges get a little fuzzy. This is a fuzzy spider. It's a good size spider too. Gonna need a smaller detail brush, so I'll grab an Essential Stencil detail brush and we'll grab one of these grays. And we have back legs that go out and come in, go out and come in. Another one that kind of comes out and toward the back leg, toward the back leg. And then we need a couple legs on the front of her body that go up and toward the front. Our creepy little spider. feel like my lines got a little too big, so I'm just gonna make them a little smaller. Make sure there's a spot between there. And I'm gonna give him just a couple little eyes. We'll go into straight white. And a couple little fangs. If it helps to outline the fangs, you can. It's an awful lot of little detail. All right. So we have that part of our witch's hat. And this is where if you'd like to accentuate blah, 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 any more strong highlights, you would go in with a little smaller brush like your detail brush. And let's do one here. Let's make sure there's a nice little swoop there, a little swoop there. And we have our little witch's hat. Now he's gonna have to dry for just a second before I can stencil on top of that. Or I could hit with a blow dryer. But I think what I'm gonna do is just set it aside for just a hot second. And we'll go ahead and do kind of that tree version on a smaller piece. This is just a 5x7 piece of board. And this one, we're gonna make a spooky, spooky tree. But I want a moon behind it. So I took just a round brush, and it's clean. Hello, hello, hello. And I'm just gonna make a circle. However big I think I want my moon to be. Okay, about. And then notice how it's gray and it gets lighter and lighter and it gets whiter and whiter. So I'm gonna start with a gray. I'll start with this medium gray. I'm gonna go ahead, just gonna fill it in and let it kind of disperse beyond where I do my circle. Then I'll go into a little bit of a lighter gray and start it a little bit more in the circle. And I'll go into almost a pure white. And it's because it's wet, it's gonna just kind of blend all together. And it doesn't look so great until you let it dry for just a sec. And then we're gonna repeat that. We're gonna go the opposite way. I'm gonna start with white. I might have to hit this with a blow dryer too. What do you know? I'm gonna have to hit it with a blow dryer. Just a sec. That's why I grabbed my blow dryer. We'll do this really quick, like. Okay. Finish my moon. I'm gonna start with the white. Be lighter and whiter in the middle. And then so I don't have any fuzzy edges or strong edges, I just clean my brush with water, and I'm just gonna pull that white and let it get fuzzy as it goes out. If I lose my shape, back in with my white. Oops. Sometimes you have to dry them in between. We want this moon to be a little bigger so I can have a nice spooky tree. So I'm gonna pick up my little bit of my gray, with a lot of water in my brush, and I'm gonna make this a little bigger. Rinse my brush. I tap the edge so it kind of fuzzes out a little bit. Let that dry. Want it to be fuzzy. The other thing you can always do is go back with just a soft brush and very gently pull it into your background. That might be really fun for a scary tree. Now, when I started this, the stencils I'm going to use were still available. There is no guarantee that's going to be the case by the time we're done. But you can at least do the freehand stuff. A little brighter moon, and then we're going to add our tree, and then we're going to stencil. And it's that time of year where we like kind of really spooky looking things. So I'm going to grab a little glamour dust. This is clear. I'm going to do it around the circle, and then I'm just very lightly going to touch it on the outer rim here. So this won't change the color. This is like a clear glitter, but it's really, really tiny particles. It'll be a really fun little glimmer in our moon. Okay, there's our moon. You're going to need a skinny brush. So I'm just going to use one of the detail brushes from Essential Stencil. And I'm going to start with the trunk. The trunk going like such. Got to hit that with a blow dryer or we'll have a gray tree. I don't know if you can see the glimmer on there or not, but just a little bit. So we're going to start with our trunk, go up. Trunks are going to get skinnier as they get higher up. And you're going to start thinking about Ys, pulling like Ys off of your branches. And again, the more higher you go up, the skinnier they're going to get. You can always add a thicker trunk and make Ys going the other way. And to make it really spooky, we want lots of little ones that come off of here. And we don't want them to be perfectly straight. We want to be a little, it's a great one to have, a great project to do if you've just had a bunch of coffee. Make my trunk a little bigger. I know I'm doing black on black. I'm going to fix that in a second so you can see it. Oops. But I want to get all these spooky branches in here first. Oop, that's gray. Oops. That's okay. Go in with my black, fix my gray little mark. And if your paint isn't flowing very well for you, just add a little bit of water to it. You can go all the way off into your black area. Lots of shaky tree branches. Move your piece around so you're pulling the paint the way you want it to go, or it's easiest for you for it to go. Most of our surfaces are not cemented down, so we can move them to make them easier. And we're going to go back and finish up our witch's hat next. If when you get to the edge here and you can't see your branches, pick up a little lighter gray, mix it with a little bit of the black, and as you go out to the edge, you can get those to be a little lighter on the edges, and then they show up out in the black area too. Try to make them skinnier as they get toward the top. They can crisscross each other. If you end up with a branch that's too thick, that one's a little too thick, clean your brush off, go back and just add a little more black to it. When you have your tree where you like it, where it's spooky enough, take a dark gray, so just a little bit lighter than your black, and go down one side of your tree trunk and pull it out so it flares out a little bit on the bottom. Add just a couple streaks of the lighter gray, maybe just a little bit off the bottom. And then I like to take that gray and with either just a couple little strokes of your detail brush, so it looks like there's a little bit of ground. All right, I'm going to grab my stencil that I want to use for this. Almost tight. These have ever been used. I know they haven't. And I'm going to see, oh, is Spooky going to fit? I don't know if Spooky's going to fit. Uh-oh. What does this one say? I think we'll go with this. This says, Happy Halloween. And I think we're going to do it right down here. And I'm going to do Happy Halloween with silver. This is metallic silver. So even though it's not black and white, silver is made from black and white. It just is a little more metallic-y. So I'm going to use a little sponge. I'm going to tap it off. You can certainly do this with a stencil brush as well. Okay, lift that off. Happy Halloween. Got a little bit there, but not a problem. Go back with my black paint and voila, it's gone. Make sure there's nothing on the back side. And I'm going to put a couple little bats on here. So I'll put a bat up here with silver. And I'm going to put a bat down here with silver. And then we're going to put a bat up here too. Happy Halloween. Cute little set. Okay. Go back to our witch's hat. Set that aside. See how when it dries, it looks even better as you can see the black outline that we did. And we have the highlights from the witch's hat. And we're going to add some words to this one. We are. So I'm going to add words that say, where did it go? Oh no, I had it sitting here. I put a spell on you. And I'm going to offset it, but it's going to go on I'm going to put it on the opposite side as the yada yada spider. And going to line it up. And again, I'm going to go ahead and use a little silver so it stands out a bit. Tap, 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 tap. So if you haven't had a chance, make sure you head over to essentialstencil.com and you're going to need a secret word to get into the site. And that secret word is secret. You have today and tomorrow until midnight to shop their 35% off site-wide sale. There have been some things that have sold out, but there's still lots of good stuff. And then when you get to checkout, I'd appreciate it if you used Cheers. It'll save you 10% and it will help me as well. Okay, so I've done the little stars, did the words, and I'm going to just, Remember my trick, guys. If you can't get a stencil up like that, find yourself a little piece of tape. Doesn't matter if it's Scotch tape or painter's tape, doesn't matter at all. Just a little bit of tape. Still hang on to your stencil so you don't smear it. And then use the tape so it lifts the stencil right up. Now, we've got a spell on you. Is very, very cute. I think I want to make it just a touch cuter. So I've got a little glitter. And I'm just going to use a smaller brush, a little round. I'm just going to use the tip of my round. And I'm just going to hit the spell word. I don't have to get it everywhere, but I want to have a little bit of a sparkle to it. What do you think? I think it makes a nice little addition to my boot full of flowers and my pumpkin that's, thank you for the hearts. I appreciate that so very much. You guys are so sweet. Look at our time here real quick. A little more. Just filling in my spell so it's nice and sparkly. I'm just doing those main parts of the word. I'm not doing those little extra accents. My son was laughing at me this morning because I was singing the song, I Put a Spell on You. I probably not nearly as well as Bette Midler did in Hocus Pocus. And if you happen to get a spot that it's too much, you can take a clean brush. Like I just kind of went a little overboard there. And before it dries, you can just pick it up, or with a little bit of a Q-tip as well. All right. What do you think? I'll put a spell on you. Hope you guys are having a fantastic Friday. Thank you for the sprinkling. It means so very much. We're going to have some more fun over the weekend, I am sure. What did I have sitting here? Somewhere I had sitting here. What did I have? There was something I wanted to do. I don't know what it was. I've lost my train of thought. Oh, look at all those hearts. I like that, and I think this is kind of fun too, the little Halloween tree. So all sorts of things you can do with the Essential Stencil Halloween and all the other ones too. Can't wait to play a little more with that deer head. That seemed to be really popular last night. So have a great rest of your Friday, and I'm going to go play with my girlfriends, my other witch friends. I will talk to you really soon. Till then, be kind, be safe, and cheers. Bye-bye.